What if you could walk away from your job tomorrow and live comfortably with just $500,000? Most people think that is crazy. We've been told we need millions to retire and must work until 70. But those beliefs are not just wrong. They're keeping you trapped in a system designed to make you work forever. My name is Nick, and I help people understand how simple financial strategies create extraordinary results. Today, I'll show you with real numbers how $500,000 can buy complete financial independence. According to recent surveys, most Americans believe they need at least $2 million to retire comfortably. Financial advisors love these massive numbers because it keeps you dependent on their services. But right now, people are living better lives than most millionaires with just $500,000 wisely invested. The difference isn't luck or secret strategies. It is understanding one fundamental principle most people ignore. Think about what financial freedom actually means. It is not about luxury cars, designer clothes, or first-class flights. It is about waking up without an alarm, spending days doing what you choose, pursuing hobbies, being present with family, and never worrying about bills. Wealth isn't about accumulating stuff. It is about accumulating choices. And choices don't require nearly as much money as people think. Here is the secret that sounds too simple but works. If you generate enough passive income to cover your living expenses, you never have to work again. It is not about millions sitting in your account looking impressive. It is about having money working for you so you don't work for money. Let's break down the mathematics. Take $500,000 and put it into conservative fixed income investments, bonds, high-yield savings accounts, certificates of deposit. These aren't exciting, but they consistently generate returns year after year. With safe investments, expect about 5% annual returns. 5% of 500,000 equals $25,000 per year, over $2,000 monthly without touching your principal. Your money works harder than most people at their jobs, never calling in sick or taking vacation. $25,000 yearly might not sound like a fortune, especially if you currently earn more. But when living off passive income, you're no longer trading time for money. Every day belongs to you. No pointless meetings, office politics, or Sunday night dread. The freedom itself has enormous value that doesn't show up in numbers, but it gets better. That is the most conservative approach, with slightly more risk. Through diversified stock and bond funds, you can achieve higher returns. A balanced portfolio historically generates 8 to 9% returns annually over decades, using 8.5%. Conservatively, that is $42,500 yearly, over $3,500 monthly, arriving whether you're sleeping, traveling, or spending time with loved ones. Now, we're talking about lifestyle, including travel, hobbies, and supporting causes you care about. Here is the beautiful part. While enjoying this income, your original 500,000 is still there, working for you, generating income month after month. This separates this approach from traditional retirement thinking. The traditional approach: work 40 years, accumulate money, then slowly spend it down, hoping you run out of life before money. It is depressing, constantly watching savings shrink and worrying about outliving your nest egg. But what if you never spent your principal? What if your money lasted forever because you only live off returns? This mindset shift changes everything. The difference between thinking like a consumer versus an investor: when you have 500,000 generating consistent returns, you're not just financially independent for years or decades. You're financially immortal. Your money outlives you, generating returns long after you're gone, passing to children or grandchildren. You're changing your entire family's trajectory for generations. Here is what financial advisors won't tell you, because there is no commission. The biggest obstacle to financial independence isn't earning more money. It is spending less. The person living comfortably on $3,000 monthly is infinitely wealthier than someone needing $10,000 to maintain their lifestyle. Lower expenses mean more options, flexibility, and freedom. Let's get brutally honest about what you actually need versus what you think you want. Do you need a $600 monthly car payment for a vehicle losing value immediately? Or could you drive a reliable used car? Do you need to eat out 5 times weekly when home-cooked meals cost a fraction? Do you need the latest iPhone yearly, designer clothes, barely used subscriptions? I'm not saying live like a monk. Life should be enjoyed, but most people spend on things that don't actually make them happier. Buying stuff to impress people they don't like, filling emotional voids purchases can't fill, or because advertising programmed them to want things they never needed. Consider this scenario. You're single, own your home outright. Monthly expenses, including property taxes, insurance, utilities, groceries, and entertainment, total $2,500, with $500,000 generating 8% annually. You're bringing in over $3,500 monthly. Not only are expenses covered, you're saving an additional $1,000 monthly without working. Your wealth grows while you sleep. Even supporting a family works. If you're strategic, maybe live in a lower cost area where money stretches further. Maybe you paid off your mortgage early, eliminating most people's largest expense. Maybe you find joy in simple pleasures, hiking instead of country clubs, home-cooked dinners instead of expensive restaurants, library books instead of constant Amazon purchases. This approach scales with your situation. $1 million at 8% gives $80,000 yearly. Reducing expenses below investment income creates larger buffers for unexpected costs or lifestyle improvements. The math works favorably from every angle, but most people sabotage themselves before starting. They see 500,000 and think it is impossible. They get overwhelmed and give up. Their inner voice says, I could never save that much, or that would take forever. But building wealth isn't about one huge leap. It is consistent steps over time. If you save $2,000 monthly and invest at reasonable returns, you'll reach $500,000 in about 18 years. 18 years might sound like forever, but where were you 18 years ago? Those years passed whether you built wealth or not. Time moves forward regardless. The question is whether you'll look back 18 years from now, celebrating financial freedom or wishing you'd started today. You don't need 2,000 from day one. Maybe start with 500 monthly. As income grows through raises and promotions, gradually increase that amount. Maybe cut expenses and discover you can save way more than expected. Maybe pick up a side hustle, specifically funding your freedom account. This isn't fantasy for trust fund babies. It is mathematical certainty for anyone prioritizing their future self over current impulses. Let me share something that illustrates why people stay trapped forever. The average person buys a new car every 6 years, taking loans with interest, paying expensive insurance, handling maintenance, repairs, gas, registration. Over a 40-year career, the average person easily spends $600,000 or more just on transportation, more than enough for complete financial independence, spent on machines losing value yearly. Meanwhile, they complain they can't afford retirement savings while making $700 monthly car payments on vehicles designed to impress strangers at traffic lights. Another example, the average American spends over $3,000 yearly on coffee shops, restaurants, takeout, and convenience foods. That is $3,000 disappearing forever. But if that same $3,000 were invested annually at 8% returns, it would grow to over $800,000 in 30 years. Your daily coffee habit could literally be worth $800,000 by retirement. That is basic math combined with compound growth's incredible power. Most people unconsciously choose temporary pleasure over permanent freedom without realizing they're making that choice daily. This brings us to lifestyle inflation immunity, probably the most important concept today. Here is how lifestyle inflation works. People get a raise, maybe $10,000 yearly. Within months, expenses magically increase by exactly that amount. They upgrade apartments, lease fancier cars, eat at expensive restaurants, buy better clothes. Expenses rise to meet income, so they never get ahead. They're running faster, but still on the same treadmill. But when building toward financial independence, every dollar has purpose. When you get that raise, ask, will spending this money bring more happiness than the freedom it could buy? Usually, the honest answer is no. That nicer apartment won't make you dramatically happier. That newer car won't fundamentally change your life. But the financial independence those dollars could purchase would change everything, developing immunity to lifestyle. Inflation is more valuable than any single investment. It means as income grows throughout your career, savings rate grows even faster. You're not just keeping pace, you're accelerating toward freedom. Even if something unexpected happens to investments, you have knowledge and discipline to rebuild. You're wealthy in financial intelligence and self-control, not just bank account balance. What about inflation eroding passive income value over time? It is built into this strategy, done correctly, generating 8 to 9% returns annually, while spending only 6 to 7% yearly means that remaining 2 to 3% helps investments keep pace with inflation. Your principal gradually increases over time, meaning passive income gradually increases too. You're not just maintaining purchasing power, you're actually growing it while living off investments. There is also Social Security benefits, currently averaging $1,900 monthly. For a married couple who both worked, that is close to $4,000 monthly in additional guaranteed income, combined with investment portfolio passive income. You're looking at very comfortable lifestyle indeed. Here is your concrete action plan starting today. First, calculate real monthly expenses, everything including rent, utilities, food, transportation, insurance, subscriptions, entertainment. Most people never actually add up what they spend. You need exact numbers. Track every dollar for 1 month. Second, identify your freedom number. If you spend $3,000 monthly, that is $36,000 yearly at 8% return. You'd need $450,000 invested. If you spend $4,000 monthly, you'd need about $600,000. Know your specific target. Third, automate investing. Set up automatic transfers from checking to investment accounts the day after getting paid, before spending on something else. Start with whatever you can afford, even 50 or 100 monthly. The habit matters more than the amount. When starting, fourth, attack biggest expenses. Look at spending and identify the 2 or 3 categories where you spend most. For most people, that is housing, transportation, and food. Can you move somewhere less expensive, drive a cheaper car, or use public transportation? Cook more meals at home. Small reductions in major categories add up to thousands yearly, redirected toward freedom. Fifth, increase savings rate. Every time income increases, every raise, bonus, new income stream, commit to saving at least half before adjusting lifestyle. This single habit accelerates your journey faster than almost anything else. Most people will never achieve this financial freedom, and it has nothing to do with intelligence or earning ability. It is about their relationship with money. They've been conditioned by advertising, social pressure, keeping up with neighbors to believe more stuff equals more happiness. But research consistently shows the opposite. Beyond meeting basic needs, additional spending has almost no impact on life satisfaction. What does impact happiness? Having time, having choices, having freedom. Those things don't require millions. They require different thinking about what money is actually for. I've seen six-figure earners completely broke because they're spending every dollar trying to look successful. Meanwhile, teachers, nurses, and mechanics are quietly building serious wealth because they understand the difference between looking rich and being rich. They are not the same thing. Here is my challenge. Stop making excuses about why this won't work for your situation. Stop saying 500,000 is impossible. Stop believing you need millions to be free. Start where you are with what you have right now, today. Maybe that means setting up automatic $50 monthly transfers to an investment account. It is not much, but it is a start. And starting is everything. Maybe cancel forgotten subscriptions and redirect that money toward your freedom fund. Maybe have an honest conversation with yourself about what you actually need versus what advertising convinced you to want. The path to financial independence isn't complicated. The math is simple. The strategy is straightforward. Anyone can understand it, but it is challenging. It requires thinking differently than most people around you, acting differently, saying no when everyone says yes, being comfortable, driving modest cars, and living in modest homes while building something that changes your life forever. But the reward isn't just money in the bank. It is a life lived completely on your own terms. Time becomes your most abundant resource instead of scarcest. Freedom becomes daily reality instead of distant dream. You wake each morning knowing the day belongs entirely to you, that you're doing what you're doing because you choose to, not because you have to. $500,000 can absolutely buy complete financial independence if you're smart about using it. The question isn't whether it is possible. I've shown you the math today. The question is whether you're willing to do what it takes to make it happen. Your future self, who is financially free, who has options, who controls their own time. That version of you is counting on the decision you make today. Don't let them down.